Do you like whiskey? Do you like beer? Then you're going to love this.
Let's get down to business.
Hi guys, welcome back to Whiskey Business. I'm Levi.
And I'm Evan.
And today we've got something very, very special. Evan, why don't you tell us what you brought along?
So, we're doing our first Irish whiskey review, which is super exciting for us. And what's also a bit different is this is actually a relatively new whiskey. So we're on the edge of the cultural zeitgeist with this one, which is awesome. It only came out at the beginning of the year, only came out in Australia a couple of months ago, which is super exciting. So we've got the Teeling Stout Cask finish whiskey. Now, Teeling are a relatively older distillery in Dublin. They were been around for quite a while, but went out of fashion and only really coming back, focusing a lot more on small batch and different expressions of whiskies. One of my absolute favorites from there, which is the first one of theirs I showed you, which is the single grain, which is such an interesting whiskey because they all use the same batch of grain as opposed to using a lot of different ones to really get their flavor profile. Now, this is a blend, not a single malt. The thing is, I haven't actually been able to find out what it's a blend of. There's not a huge amount of information about this out there. What we do know is it is a 46% alcohol volume. It is finished in Imperial Stout casks by, I think it's 200 or 400,000, let me check. 200 Fathoms, who are also a local Irish craft beer distiller. So they finish their casks, hand them over to Teeling, and it's really great kind of use of their cask to try and finish it off there. You don't see a lot of alcohol whiskey finished off in beer casks. There's also the Glenfiddich IPA out there, but this is really the first one that I'm excited to give it a go. So shall we get down to it?
Thumbs up.
Cheers. So chocolatey.
Very sweet on the nose, isn't it? But sweet's probably not right. Yeah, chocolatey, so it's got a little bit of bitterness as well. But it smells lovely.
I know. Oh.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so lovely and rich. Like you get that kind of chocolatey, almost a little bit of coffee.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't say a gigantic amount. The chocolate still really probably takes precedence there. And the heat is very, very nice. A bit of a tingling heat on the lips too, which so really, really balanced with the flavors. Really, really nicely done.
I think as well, interestingly, a lot of people that don't like whiskey or a lot of people that start drinking whiskey, the finish, which I don't think we've really used a lot of that, talking about finish and talking about anywhere. The point being, this actually does, to me at least, have quite a strong finish and it is quite a beery finish, if that makes sense. So you don't have it and then put your glass down and go, oh, that's going to sit with me for a little while. You kind of finish it and go, like you would with a beer, I'd just love to have another sip of that.
Exactly. Like, and there's a little bit of a creamy kind of feeling, like not super viscous, but enough to just kind of give you a little bit of a coating on the tongue, which I'm a big fan of as well. I love having a bit of the flavor lasting for a little while, but once again, I'm more than happy to go back for another sip. So let's get onto the water and see if that does anything for us.
It's opened it up a little bit.
It definitely has. You're still getting that chocolatey.
It's still quite. I keep saying sweet, and I shouldn't say sweet, but I think you probably understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you guys, it kind of tastes like melting chocolate.
Yeah.
It's not sugary sweet. It's just quite rich. Yeah, that's
that richness.
It's really lovely
stuff. Oh.
That's good.
That's
changed it quite a lot.
That has changed it quite a lot. Oh my god. You're still getting that chocolatey, but a little bit of citrus?
Yeah, a little bit of spice. And I don't think that it's not fair to say that it was a rough finish before, because it wasn't. It's actually very smooth. But that's even managed to smooth it off a little bit more.
Oh, that's
really good.
We've said this before. It's like drinking a completely different whiskey. But what's really strange is that I would still happily drink either one.
Yeah.
Like, I would still drink that without water. I would still drink that without, on its completely neat and sort of stuff. Well, that's going to be the next thing we try, is one thing we've looked at doing, because Levi is a self-proclaimed whiskey on the rocks drinker.
I am, yes.
So we are going to see how they kind of go with a little bit of ice in there, see what that temperature change does to it as well.
Yeah, so I've nearly drank all of mine, but that's fine. We can make this work. I should have left a little bit.
More?
It's too delicious. No, that's okay. So we've got a couple of fairly large ice cubes for those of you playing at home. Now, we're not going to dwell too much on the differences between the way that you should do it. Obviously, you should have the ice in there first and pour over and blah, blah, blah. But point being, drink your whiskey however the hell you like. We're quite big advocates for large blocks of ice, purely because it melts slower, so you get less water in there. Keeps it cooler for longer. Drink it however you like. I have a friend, shout out to Isaac Chaplin, who quite often will just get small ice cubes and get one or two. Essentially, almost like just wanting a little bit of water in there, really, but also wanting to cool it down.
There's almost no alcohol in that nose now.
It's cool when it comes up into your nostrils as well. So
it's just all chocolate, all...
Yep.
Ooh.
I think with ice, probably not the best way to try it on the nose either, to be honest, because you're just going to get cold air up your nose and it's probably not really going to work all that well.
Which would have been a great thing yesterday when it was ridiculously hot.
Absolutely. So it's gotten cold very, very quickly with a big block of ice. Now, I think that having it quite cold, especially having it with a big ice block, to me probably kicks the alcohol a little bit to the front.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing that you sort of taste. But that to me also means that the back end of it, the finish, if you like, becomes all of the flavour. It really packs a punch. It gets very, very bold when you do it that way. Should also probably say you're not anti having it on the rocks, but you're also generally not huge for it. You'll prefer to try something neat.
But I do like that. Like, you lose that tingle, which I really liked about having it neat. But it also really does round out the palate. You still get a little bit of viscosity from it, which is very strange considering it's now had water and ice in it. There's still enough of a coating to kind of give you that full mouth feel, that kind of filling.
I think we should also probably say that if you do drink on the rocks, you're probably never going to put water in with it as well, which is what we've done, which is probably not the right way to do it, but who cares? We're here to buck tradition.
So pretty much the water is to open up the thing, and the whole point of having ice is that it does that slowly. So the idea of doing this is the same as probably having the ice cube in there for about 5 to 10 minutes or so.
We've got a little bit of
still cold, anyway. Still having a little bit of water.
I also love the sound. Of having a big block of ice in there.
That's going to be great to edit.
The theatre of whiskey. It really does. It's worth saying, and we're not going to harp on too much about the ice because we'd rather talk about the whiskey, but the ice in any whiskey, it works really well for some. It honestly doesn't work very well for others.
No.
It works pretty well for this, so I think it'd be fair to say, which is surprising. Irish whiskey probably not going to be designed to be drunk on the rocks.
The strangest thing is that I'd be happy to drink this any of the three ways we'd have it.
Yeah.
And each way, you still get that lovely chocolatiness, that lovely richness. You still get that lovely, viscosity and that coating of the mouth. Like, overall, that has been just an absolute amazing whiskey.
And if you are drinking your whiskey, try different things. You don't know what you're going to like till you do it. So try it neat. Maybe you're a big fan of drinking it neat. Try it with a little bit of water. Try it on the rocks. Try it with small ice cubes. Try it with large ice cubes. Try it with whiskey stones if you feel so obliged. But try it until you figure out what you like. Because in our opinion, and we'll probably be told that we're wrong by the traditionalists, there's no wrong way to drink whiskey. It's however you enjoy it.
Well, with Coke.
Sorry, yes, good point. Unless you're drinking something real low life, in which case mix it with whatever you like.
Exactly.
What does a bottle of this set us back, Evan?
$79.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, and even online on Masters of Malt, 70.
Yep.
Like, so for that $10 extra, you can walk into Dan Murphy's and pick up a bottle straight away. And the reason I discovered this whiskey was I was just actually in a Dan Murphy's looking for a bottle of Redbreast because I really wanted some Redbreast, and they had this as a, hey, give this a taste.
I got a very excited text message.
Yeah, yes. So I had a glass and I fell in love with it at the moment, and I don't often impulse buy whiskey, but this one, it was just after trying it once, I'm just like, this is just something super interesting, something I really want to show other people as well. Like, I've been a big proponent of Teeling since I first tried them a couple of years ago. Like, I introduced Levi to Teeling as well. I love Irish whiskies. I like that they have the history that Scotch whiskey is doing, but you're also finding a lot of the distilleries that are trying to do something different, trying to be a lot more about the flavour and the simplicity.
They're not as burdened by traditionalism.
Exactly.
I think that'd be fair to say. And we've had some truly awful Irish
Oh,
whiskies
absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
But generally speaking, I've enjoyed all the Irish whiskies that I've tried. It's really important to focus on. Yeah, true. It's really important to focus on a couple of different things. Firstly, the fact that this is very, very different, and we do this a lot. We talk about how things are different, etc., etc. We're probably sick of us talking about it, but this is very, very different. It's finished in a stout cask. You can taste the beer in there.
Absolutely.
But also at the same time, if you're not a huge beer drinker, it's not the most overpowering flavour.
Yeah.
It just mixes really well with all the other properties of it being a whiskey. For that reason, I guess it's probably great, especially at $80 a bottle, as a bit of an entry point.
Yeah.
But it's also still fantastic enough with its complexity to really, blow the socks off the traditional dyed-in-the-wool whiskey drinker. They're going to go, that's really different. That's maybe horrible because I like my traditional whiskies, but they're probably also going to go, but it's really different, and that's actually pretty interesting.
So Levi, for $79, what are you going to rate it?
I love this whiskey. That's a 9.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really different, but it does everything right. The complexity of flavour is fantastic. Keep harping on about the finish. I hate using the term finish because it sounds really wanky, but it is the back end of it, what you have left on your palate after you've finished with your sip, is great, and it lasts for ages.
My quick question here, because I'm still up in the air over my score, but here's my question to you. What stopped you from giving that a 10?
Purely because, this is horrible, I know what my 10 is, and I prefer what my 10 is to that.
But not for that price point?
Geez, that's tough.
It's okay, you can stick with the 9.
I'm sticking with it. I'm not changing my score. I'm a stubborn prick of a man.
I tend to be very much around what it is in that price point bracket.
Yep.
So I'm probably going to give that a 10 because I think that is something that you should really go out and try. Go to your local Dan's. If like Teeling, from the looks of things, are doing a really big advertising push in Dan Murphy's.
Yep.
So go to your local Dan's, see if you can get a free tasting of it.
Yeah.
They actually will, when I was there, they also had the small batch and the single malt. So if you wanted, you could try all 3.
And they're all great.
Yeah.
There's no bad Teeling whiskies.
No.
9, 10. I'm not going to argue with your 10.
No.
I completely understand why. And I probably not that we want to back up the truck
Yeah.
here, but what you're saying in terms of compare it to anything in an $80 price point, compare it to anything that is that unique.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that's better than
No, not in that price point.
No, definitely.
The only other whiskey in that price point would be the Teeling single grain.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'd be happy to give that a 10 as well.
I think this is probably better than the single grain just because it's very, very different, and I like how bold and punchy the flavour is. So,
I get you.
But the single grain is fantastic as well. The single grain is probably more of your traditionalist, I'm going to have a whiskey and this is a great one, as opposed to this, which is very different. This is probably more in the vein of the Nika coffee grain, which is not something that you're going to get from any other whiskey.
No,
it's very different and it's really cool.
I think the only reason we were lucky enough to get this in Australia is that Teeling is doing that big advertising push with Dan Murphy specifically, just trying to get it out there. Because the good thing about Australia is we are a buying market here, which is great. So if you can get advertising in the right places and get that kind of customer recommendation on board, you tend to do well for yourselves in Australia. So here's the customer recommendation. We love it, Teeling. Help us out. Send us some stuff.
Give us anything you want.
Great.
Dan's, like everything you've done.
You
so
too.
far.
We love you, Dan's. We keep mentioning for people to buy it you. So please help us out here. 9
out of 10.
A 9 out of 10.
That's about as good a recommendation as we can possibly give.
Yeah.
We do the whole go and buy a glass. This is one that I would be pretty happy to say, buy a glass if you want, go buy a bottle. You're not going to go wrong with it.
I don't think you're going to go wrong buying a bottle, but as I said, if you're walking into Dan's recently, see if they've got the free tasting available. If not, ask. They might just have it out the back. It's worth at least asking a question to see if you don't have to pay to have a taste of this fantastic whiskey.
And on top of that, if you're interested in understanding differences, and we didn't deliberately choose this, but it's worked out very well, between having something neat, having something water, having something on the rocks, this is a wonderful thing to do because this one really changed quite a lot between all 3 of those profiles. So figure out what you like. This is a great one because it's great anyway, but you'll probably get an understanding of how they change with each of those different complexities. Give it a go, but good bringing. Well done.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so we had a really great time shooting this episode.
Indeed.
I'm a big fan of this, so please go out, try it. Definitely one we recommend highly.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next week with a new episode. And Levi, what are you bringing for us?
We're coming home. Well, not quite. We're coming back to South Australia, which is
Yeah.
not my home or your home, but very close to our home.
Yeah.
So we're not going to give away too much because it's a really special episode. It's something really, really cool. We can't wait to talk about it. We can't wait to show you. And frankly, we can't wait to drink it.
So I'm really looking forward to the next episode as well. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back here next Monday at 5 p.m. So we'll hopefully see you then.
And as always, make sure to keep your business whiskey. Thanks, guys.